You do something small, something you've done 100 times before. Maybe you reach out suddenly to pet them. Maybe you pick them up without warning. Maybe you look directly into their eyes and hold the gaze, thinking it means connection. And your cat pulls away, or freezes, or leaves the room without a sound, and you don't know why. You weren't being cruel. You weren't being loud. You were just being yourself, the way you always are around them. But something shifted. Something in their body changed. A slight tension in the shoulders, ears that moved just slightly back, a tail that dropped without explanation. Most owners see that moment and think, my cat is just moody. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is much quieter than that, and far more significant. Because cats don't withdraw randomly. They don't shut down without reason. Every small retreat, every stiffening of the body, every subtle avoidance, it all means something. And the most unsettling part? The behaviours that cause it are often things owners consider completely harmless. There's a common belief that cats are emotionally simple, that they're independent by nature, unaffected by small interactions, and largely indifferent to how humans treat them in casual moments. But behavioural researchers studying feline social cognition have found something very different. Cats are exquisitely sensitive to consistency, to safety, yes, and to the emotional logic of their environment. They don't communicate the way dogs do, loudly, visibly, with obvious signals. They communicate in microsignals, in posture, in proximity, in what they choose to do after you've touched them, or looked at them, or entered the room. And when those signals are repeatedly misread, something erodes. Not all at once, not dramatically. But quietly, over time, the trust begins to thin. Here are 6 things most owners do without thinking, things that feel harmless, but that your cat experiences very differently. 1. The stare that feels like threat. You look at your cat from across the room, your eyes meet, you hold the gaze because it feels intimate, natural, like a shared moment of connection. But inside your cat's nervous system, something very different is processing. In feline communication, a direct, unblinking stare is not affection, it is a challenge. In feral colonies, sustained eye contact between cats is almost always a precursor to confrontation. It signals dominance, it signals aggression, it signals that one animal is asserting itself over another. When you hold eye contact with your cat without softening it, without blinking slowly, without looking away, you are, in the language your cat understands at an instinctual level, presenting yourself as a potential threat. Most cats will respond by looking away. They're not being dismissive. They're attempting to de-escalate. They're offering you a signal of peace. And if that signal is ignored, if you keep staring, their stress response elevates. Cortisol rises. The interaction that you experienced as warm, they experienced as tense. The correction is subtle but profound. A slow blink, then look away. Researchers studying feline visual communication have found that cats who receive slow blinks from their owners show measurably more affiliative behaviour in return. That quiet eye gesture, barely noticeable, is one of the deepest forms of trust your cat can receive from you. 2. The uninvited touch. During rest, your cat is sleeping, or resting quietly in a patch of sunlight, and you reach down to stroke them because they look peaceful and warm, and you want to be close to them. This seems like the most natural thing in the world, but cats in rest are, neurologically, in a state of lowered vigilance. They have partially relinquished their alert system, and when something, even something familiar, even someone they love, touches them without warning during that state, their body responds before their mind does. The startle reflex activates. The muscles contract. In a fraction of a second, their nervous system has assessed whether there is a threat. And even if they recognize you immediately, even if they settle back down without reaction, the body has already gone through the experience of being surprised. Over time, repeated uninvited contact during rest teaches your cat something specific, that relaxation is not entirely safe, that stillness can be interrupted, and cats that experience this consistently begin to choose rest spots that are less accessible, higher, more hidden, not because they don't want to be near you, but because proximity has become unpredictable. If you're starting to see your cat's behavior differently right now, that recognition matters. Hit like and subscribe. There's more here worth understanding. 3. The forced hold. When they signal discomfort, You pick up your cat. They begin to squirm, and instead of setting them down, you hold on a little tighter. Not out of cruelty, out of affection. You want the moment to last. You want them to relax into it. This is where most owners get it wrong. When a cat signals that they want to be released, through body tension, through pushing with the paws, through turning the head away, and that signal is overridden, something deeply important is communicated to them, that their signals don't work. For an animal whose entire emotional security is built around the ability to move freely, to choose distance and proximity on their own terms, having that agency removed is not a small thing. It activates the same stress architecture that activates under genuine threat. The distinction between loving restraint and threatening restraint does not exist in the feline stress response. And cats that learn their discomfort signals will be ignored do one of two things. They stop signaling and begin tolerating touch with a kind of flat, vacant compliance that owners often mistake for calm. Or they begin avoiding physical contact altogether, before it can escalate to the point of feeling trapped. Neither is what you wanted. Both are the result of something that felt to you like love. 4. Unpredictable energy in the home. This one is less visible but perhaps more pervasive. Cats are creatures of pattern recognition. Their sense of safety is deeply tied to the predictability of their environment, to knowing when things happen, how they happen, and what follows what. This isn't just preference. It is evolutionary architecture. And ambush predators survive by reading environments precisely. Any break in pattern is a potential variable. Any variable is a potential threat. When the energy in a home is consistently unpredictable, sudden loud voices, frequent guests, variable schedules, emotional volatility, cats do not simply adjust. They exist in a low-grade state of alertness that never fully resolves. Their stress hormones remain slightly elevated. Their rest is lighter. Their trust radius, the distance within which they feel safe, shrinks. And the owners in these homes often notice that their cat has become distant, reserved, less interested in company. What they're actually observing is a cat in a perpetual state of mild vigilance, conserving energy, staying close to exits, staying away from unpredictability. The most loving home for a cat is not the most stimulating one. It is the most consistent one. 5. Punishing. After the moment has passed. Your cat did something earlier, knocked something over, scratched the furniture, made a mess. And when you discover it, minutes later or even an hour later, you find them and you scold them. You use a stern voice. You hold them near the scene. You want them to understand. But here is what behavioral science tells us clearly. Cats do not connect delayed punishment to prior behavior. Their memory of events does not work the way human declarative memory works. They don't retrieve the earlier moment and map your current displeasure onto it. What they experience is this. They were existing peacefully, and then you became threatening, without context, without cause, as far as they understand. This is the part that changes everything for many owners to hear. When you punish your cat after the moment has passed, you don't teach them what you intend to teach them. You teach them that you are sometimes unpredictable, that your emotional state can shift dangerously for no reason they can identify, and an animal that cannot predict your behavior cannot fully trust you. The effect accumulates quietly, and it doesn't take dramatic incidents to produce it. 6. The subtle dismissal of their approach. This one is the one most people miss entirely. Your cat walks toward you, slowly with their tail up, which, in feline social language, is one of the clearest signals of trust and friendly intention that exists. They approach you while you're on your phone, or watching something, or in the middle of a task, and you don't respond. Or you give them a brief, distracted touch and return to what you were doing. It seems so small. It is small from the outside, but consider what that approach cost them. Cats are not naturally approach-oriented animals. In the wild, initiating proximity carries risk. When a cat walks toward you with a raised tail, they are making a social bid. They are overriding a layer of instinctual caution to seek connection with you. That gesture is not nothing. It is an act of deliberate vulnerability. And when it's met with indifference, the cat learns, as all social animals learn, that the bid was not received. Over many repetitions, those bids become less frequent. Not because the cat stopped caring, but because their social experience has taught them that approaching doesn't lead to connection. Behavioral studies on feline social bonding have found that cats who receive responsive, attuned attention when they initiate contact show significantly higher levels of affiliative behavior over time. It doesn't require long interactions, it requires present ones. 5 seconds of genuine attention, stopping what you're doing, making eye contact the soft way, offering a slow touch, is received by your cat as something far greater than its duration suggests. Cats don't announce their trust. They don't tell you when it's building, and they don't tell you when it's fraying. They show it in the places they choose to sleep, in the distance they keep, in whether they approach or simply observe you from across the room. The relationship you have with your cat is being written in these small moments, the ones that feel like nothing. The stare that lasted a second too long, the touch that woke them, the approach that went unnoticed. But the reverse is also true. Every slow blink offered in return, every time you set them down before they asked to leave, every time you stopped and turned toward them when they walked across the room with their tail held high, all of it is received. All of it is remembered in the quiet, precise way that cats remember. Not with words, but with trust.